Hey everyone, my name is Brita Seltzer and I'm a product manager for PagerDuty. And I'll be talking about an exciting new feature we have called the Service Graph. The Service Graph, which is an interactive mapping of all technical and business service dependencies within an account, is a critical tool in our customer's journey towards full service ownership. It is a living, breathing asset that codifies technical and business services and their relationships across the organization. An asset that lives on through personnel changes and easily adapts as complexity grows or changes are made. Ultimately, it democratizes knowledge across all members of an organization about how services combine to deliver customer-facing or business capabilities and the health of those services at any given moment. This organization-wide transparency also empowers members to identify and seamlessly close gaps in the relationships they own, not waiting for administrators or laborious operational processes to be done to update the service graph, but instead giving the teams that are responsible for each service in production the power to also own and manage their service relationships in the service graph, helping to keep it up to date as services evolve. With that foundational knowledge set, responders have the tools to take incident response to new heights. It won't matter if an issue is originating 1 layer or 4 layers away from the service. Responders will be able to quickly digest the full impact radius of an issue, zero in on likely cause, and seamlessly facilitate cross-team collaboration, leading to faster incident resolution. So let's look now at what's new. Users can easily drag and drop unconnected technical or business services into the graph to begin creating relationships. A relationship can be established by drawing a line between two services in the graph, and a relationship can be removed by clicking on a line connecting two services and disconnecting the relationship. When a user hovers over a node, the graph highlights 1 layer of dependencies in both the uses and use by direction and clearly shows the direction of impact between the different nodes. If a user clicks on a node, the graph displays a side panel that you can see here in the visual, which shows various metadata about the service, including the service name, description, the response state like awaiting response or response in progress, for example, the escalation policy for technical services or owner for business services, the team, open incidents against that impacting service, and links to click through to the service profile or to manage dependencies. And finally, a user can select either a business service or a technical service to filter by in order to focus in on one node and the uses and use by relationships associated with it, providing a clean subgraph, especially in the case of many relationships within larger organizations or larger graphs. So now let's turn to a quick demo of the service graph functionality. For the demo today, we'll be talking about Retail Co., and they're just beginning to map out their service dependencies. So they can navigate to the service graph from the services drop-down menu, or from the dependencies widget on any incident details page, or from the impact tab of any service profile. And they can begin by quickly dragging and dropping their technical as well as business services into the graph. In this case, we have the Checkout business service, as well as the Inventory API and MongoDB technical services. To create relationships, they can easily drag and drop lines between two nodes. If for whatever reason a relationship created an error, they can click to disconnect that relationship. Similarly, they can click on any relational line within a graph in order to disconnect that relationship. If Retail Co. had already had a source of truth, they could have easily imported this information to visualize in PagerDuty's service graph via the PagerDuty API, Terraform provider, or by provisioning them from their ServiceNow instance. Let's turn now to an example of where Retail Co. has a more built-out graph. For larger graphs, customers can use our filtering by both technical or business service in order to just focus on that specific node as well as the associated relationships. In this case, let's talk about Jazz, Retail Co's on-call engineer for checkout. She's just received a page that the inventory API is experiencing a P1 issue. It's not clear what's going on, so she jumps to the graph for more details. By hovering over the inventory API node or any node in the graph, she can see the flow of impact and one layer of relationships in the uses as well as used by directions. Immediately, it's clear that this is impacting checkout as well as the mobile app and the website, critical business and customer-facing capabilities for Retail Co., and there is no question that this is a P1 issue. Jazz can also assess that there are services both upstream and downstream from her service that are experiencing problems, and that it's unlikely that this issue is just isolated to the inventory API. Based on the flow of impact in the visual, it looks clear that the MongoDB may be the source of these failures. By clicking on the MongoDB service, Jazz can see more information, like the full name of the service, description, that Jose is currently responding to an incident, what that incident is, and what team owns this service. With that additional information, Jazz reaches out to Jose to get an update on the incident and understand if this is in any way associated with the issue she's seeing on her inventory API service. Jose lets her know that it likely is and that he's working on a fix. So instead of Jazz having to work on an issue in isolation or spinning her wheels thinking that it may be an issue on her service, she sits tight and sees everything return to normal a few minutes later when Jose pushes the fix, resulting not in isolated incident response, but rather cross-team collaboration that let Retail Co's engineers get to the most efficient incident response for a critical customer and business capability issue as efficiently as possible. That's it for our demo today. Thank you so much for your time and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.